Greetings, everybody. Billy O here with episode 4.7 of the Huns OldCast for July 7th or July 26th, 2023. A little overview, on the OldCast, we typically talk about Huns current events. We try to have a little bit of fun, and we also occasionally talk about Huns history. Today, we're brought to you by Hamilton Barnes, one of our big Sevens sponsors this summer. Hamilton Barnes delivering leading edge recruitment solutions for pioneering technologies in the network engineering space. I'm an old fart, an analog guy in a digital age. I have no idea what any of that means, but it sounds great. They are also all over the place. They are in London, that's their home base, Austin, Ireland, Germany, the Netherlands, and Malaysia. Rumored to be expanding into Boston and Miami, where Lionel Messi is taking the United States soccer world by storm right now. Apologize for mentioning soccer on a rugby oldcast, but I like Messi a lot. Our guests today, we're going in a different direction. We usually go with club officers and leaders and stuff like that. Today, we're going in a different direction with a couple of young bucks, Rob Brown and Anthony Gillis. Gentlemen, how are you doing?
We're doing good. We're doing good. I appreciate you having us on here. Watch them all the time, so I'm excited to finally get on here and talk about some of the stuff that us young guys get up to with the Huns.
Rob, how you doing?
I'm doing great. This is kind of a long time coming since the pre-Summer 7 South Padre trip. That's when this idea started. So good to have it in motion here.
You guys are funny. I started this as sort of a tongue-in-cheek joke. I didn't even think anybody was watching in the beginning. I was kind of just personally updating current events. And, somebody said, I want to be on the show. And I'm like, the show? And we started having guests and doing stuff a while back. So I'm glad you guys like it. My hope is that this is an information tool for the guys. It also documents kind of Huns culture and history, and maybe it can be a recruiting tool for guys that want to come play for us. All right, so that's the intro. Today's agenda, we're going to talk about sevens. We've done really well again this summer. We're going to talk about fundraising because we're sending a team to nationals, but more on that in a minute. And we're going to let these guys run with the ball a little bit here. I don't quite know what to expect. I don't have any questions prepared. They're just enthusiastic new Huns. And I'm kind of interested in getting a new member's perspective on Huns culture and Huns fun and everything like that. So those are the things that we're going to talk about today. Let's start with sevens. A brief recap. We did not win the final local regional qualifying tournament, so we finished second in sevens this summer at the elite level to the Reds for the Red River Rugby Conference. That said, we did good enough in Dallas, and we've played the Reds close really all year long. And we're already punched either way, first or second place to go to nationals. So we're really excited about that. This is our second time to nationals in the last 3 years. We finished fifth a couple of years ago, which was amazing. We also won TOLA. That is a local only competition, and we won that by a very wide margin. We ran away with it. We don't even have to compete in the tournament this weekend to have prevailed, and it is a real testament to our club and the depth thereof that we can field two sides like this, and the first side to nationals, the second side wins TOLA. It's our fourth TOLA win in the last 5 opportunities. So that's an incredible accomplishment. And I've posted this on social media, but I want to say it here for the record. On top of it, TOLA was the brainchild of Hun TJ Costello. So way to go, TJ. And guys, if you see him, pat him on the back, get him to tell you about it. I think TJ would love to tell that story, and it's really a credit to him because a lot of guys doubted that we needed a TOLA competition, and TJ pushed it through. Good for him, good for the Huns. Then we're going to talk about fundraising. We've got a fundraising drive going to send these guys to nationals. We're going to give an update on that here in a minute. I'm assuming that my technology team behind the scenes will put up a graphic right now. As of this morning, we were about $4,500 raised out of 8,000. Hansel Johansson, Chris Hansen is our associate director, kind of our business manager. He got a $4,000 grant from the Texas Rugby to go. So, we've raised $8,500 of $12,000 already through those two mediums. We're getting closer. So you guys, if you want to help, even if you don't have money, go on Facebook for Old Farts, or the Gram or whatever the hell y'all use. I have it posted on LinkedIn even. And share that graphic, which has a link that people can get to donate. $5 is fine. Anything is fine. If you want to donate more, donate more. But we appreciate all the support we've gotten already. We're looking to get a little bit more. And now we're to the third part of the day's program, and that is these fellas. Why don't you each tell us a little bit about how you found the Huns?
Yeah, I mean, I'll go first. Oh, almost fell back here. I'll go first. So I've been playing rugby since I was 10 years old. And after high school, went to Sweden for a little bit and played rugby in Sweden. Was out there. Actually, before that, I was playing in LA for a little bit, and I grew up in Santa Barbara, California. So I knew of Red, Patrick Coleman. So I knew of him in Santa Barbara. I remember watching him when I was little, and he was tearing up college rugby at that point. And I remember my coach telling me that he went to Texas to go play, and so it was the seed was kind of playing in my head at that point. And then when
What
I
did
moved
Red
back,
play in college?
he played center. I think he played 12 or 13. So he was unstoppable at that time. Faster than
No
everyone.
wonder he knows how to run with the ball.
Oh yeah, no, it was crazy to watch him. I mean, scoring almost every single time he touched the ball back then. But yeah, after I got back from Sweden, moved back home to California for a little bit and was trying to figure out my next move. Rugby has been always something I want to try to get, I guess, to high. I want to just keep growing, I guess, go to higher levels. So I knew Texas was a good spot, and I knew Red was with the Huns. So moved out here, and came to it was actually funny. It was either whatever team kind of had the first meeting. It was going to be the Blacks or the Huns. The Huns kind of had their first meeting, so I was like, all right, I'm gonna go at the Huns, and went, and I'm more than grateful I chose the Huns, and that's kind of how I ended up here.
Are you injured right now?
Yeah, so we were in Houston a few weeks ago. We played against this NOLA team, and normally one of my biggest assets is my step off my right foot, and I tried to take a step off my right foot and kind of buckled my knee a little bit. So in the process right now of getting that healed, trying to get back as soon as I can, but most importantly, just trying to get healed so I can, I guess, do the best for our team, and the last thing I want to do is be a liability. So trying to get better there.
Final thing before we go to Rob, tell me a little bit about Hamilton Barnes, our
Yeah,
sponsor for this program and for Summer Sevens. Thank you, Hamilton Barnes.
of course. I mean, first off, it's an amazing company. I mean, everyone new that comes in here is brought in. I mean, it reminds me a lot of, rugby culture and joining a new team with rugby, just kind of bring you in, treating you like family immediately. So a little backstory with me and Hamilton Barnes. I was looking for a job when I moved here. Christian Alvarez, aka we call him Sancho. He was working here and he offered me a job, or he said, we're hiring. So I came and applied and got the job here. And basically what we do a little bit, we kind of just focus on a little niche. So network engineering, kind of the guys who make the internet run, basically for all the buildings, all the businesses. So we help those guys find jobs and stuff like that. They've been taking us on trips to London. We got a planned trip to Tulum, Mexico, basically. And I mean, it's a great spot to be. And they're more than happy to be a long-term sponsor for the Huns. So they love rugby. They're obviously they're from England, so they love rugby, and yeah, it's going good.
Well, I'm glad we're going to nationals their first year as our sponsor, and we're trying to build a huge, freight train, if you will, that just keeps on rolling. We've done very well in sevens, and we're kind of rebuilding 15s. And again, thank you to Hamilton Barnes for sponsoring us. We can't thank you guys enough. Appreciate it. Rob, how did you find the Huns?
Yeah, so completely different start. I started playing rugby at 18 at this little Division II school. It's called Northern Michigan University. It's like 7,000 people. I told them I'd shout them out, but shout out to Bryce Lancer, my best friend from
Are you on
Northern.
the mitten or on that little
We're on the
thing
top in the UP, so it was cold.
You're on the top of the mitten, right on the lakes.
Yes, yes. And I just remember I was moving to Austin to come down here. One of my cousins lives down here. And I was trying to continue to play rugby, and kind of the same, I think, choice that everyone comes through when they come to Austin is who you're going to play for, the Huns or the Blacks. And, I just remember the Huns culture aspects reminded me a lot of the college I was playing at, where, winning games was important, but the team and the culture was equally as important. So super glad to be in a club where you can play high level rugby and make great friends. So I love it. Made the right choice.
So, Rob, we'll stay with you. Tell me, like, I've been around the club off and on for 48 years. That sounds crazy, but in my day, A&M was the only college in Texas that played rugby. They played first division rugby. There was only D1 rugby back then, and there were a lot of teams, pretty like 30 teams in the state. And I found rugby a couple days before my freshman year and started playing at 18. They needed a second row. I showed up at practice jogging on Tuesday by accident, played on Saturday, and got to hit people. And I thought I was in heaven because it was hitting people, running with the ball as a lineman in football. That was nice. And then drinking beer. I mean, what could go wrong? So I love our culture, and I'm big on emphasizing our culture with the board and with all kinds of communications. What do you like as a young guy new to the club? What strikes you about our culture?
I would say that there's a spot for everyone on the team to make friends. There's a spot to fit in and play in games. Anything you want to do and be a part of, there's always an open hand or a spot there. I can say, like, I met some of my best friends in Austin through playing for the Huns. So I would recommend it to anyone that wants to play. It's a great team, especially right when you move here. And I like that aspect of the Big Ten aspect, of everyone has a spot and everyone has a place to do something and make their impact and feel like they're truly part of the club.
Anthony, how about you?
Yeah, I mean, you go to different clubs. I mean, I've seen it. I've been a part of them where you see a big, I guess, split between D1, D2, D3 guys, almost like cliques. With here with the Huns, it's everyone hangs out with each other. We all go out together. We do everything together. We go fishing together. We go to the lake. We go floating down the river. I mean, we're doing all these sorts of things, and I think that's super special. Just because when I moved here, didn't know a single person, and meeting the Huns. I mean, just through the Huns, I've met so many people that aren't even involved with Huns, just through friends, through other people. So it's given me a big circle of guys that I mean, even living too. When I moved here, I was struggling finding a spot to live, and right when I asked around with the Huns, it was immediate. And I mean, it's a great thing to be a part of, and I'm honestly, best word is I'm super happy to be a part of the Huns and be a Hun for sure.
You guys are both pretty young, like 21, something like that.
I'm 21, yes.
Yeah, 23, just turned 23.
Some of my absolute best friends in the world. I mean, 5 of my absolute best friends in the world. I met my freshman year on this,
Oh yeah.
you know, and back then it was crazy. We were lucky to have 15 guys sometimes. We'd pile into like 3 cars. We played in Odessa, drive out there at 100 miles an hour. Just it was crazy and it was a lot of fun. And I was fortunate to play with our founder for 1 year, Pat Lockridge, who, was the ultimate sort of recruiting Big Tent, include everybody guy. He was a rebel against the TRU. He split off from the Blacks because he disagreed, I think. Um, there was a lot going on, but he disagreed a little bit with the culture and wanted to be a little more independent, a little more laid back, a little more rebellious. And that's sort of carried on all these years, and it delights me to hear that you guys talk about that as something in the lead. We get criticized for it occasionally. We're called a quote unquote social club. Well, I don't know. We won TRU 2 years ago in 15s. We won the national championship in 15s in 2017. If that's not competitive, I don't know what it is. We've been to nationals multiple times in 7s, but 5th place a couple of years ago was an incredible accomplishment. And guys, we lost to the 2 finalists.
Yep.
And one game was close, and one game we really had a bad day and didn't show up. So we've always been competitive at a high level, but we emphasize community culture rugby, the community aspect and the culture first, and let the rugby flow from that. I know you guys wanted to be on the show. Is there anything you wanted to say or do that goes outside just questions I might ask, Anthony?
Yeah, I always saw Austin Willis, one of my best friends on the team, one of the greatest, I think one of the greatest humans I've met.
Back in the
I
day.
mean, he kind of planted the seed in our head. So we just wanted to come on here, kind of just talk about what it's like kind of being a young Hun out here, a new Hun. Because I know a lot of guys that come on here, I guess, don't experience what it's like being like, I guess, from the player perspective. So we thought that might have been something pretty cool to bring on the show. But yeah, that's kind of what's why I kind of wanted to come on here and talk about. But I want to see if Rob has anything that he wants to
Willis says
say.
it was your idea, so no one's claiming that idea. That's fine.
No.
Rob.
Well, I can't say whose original idea was. There's no definitive answer for that. But yes, I would say similar story of it got thrown around as kind of a joke, like, oh, we should, like, we've watched the show and we should like go on the show, like me and Anthony, that'd be great. And Willis was the one that was like, yeah, go on, go do the show. So I don't know, maybe it was partially his idea, partially, our idea. Was a mixed bag there.
Willis is a
Yeah.
great guy. There's no two ways about it. We needed a new director of rugby. Brian Wellborn did a good job for a couple of years. He was with the boys as a coach as well at nationals. And he had to focus on his family business. He and his brother have a great business. And so we were chatting about it. And Austin, with his MLR background, even though he was, young in the TRU, was a natural person to discuss. And the more we talked about it, the more it seemed like a great idea. And he certainly has done a good job. He's got us pointed in the right direction on a lot of levels. And he is a good human being. And by the way, he works with 512 Solar. I don't want to steal any thunder from Hamilton Barnes tonight, but see 512 Solar for all your solar needs, ladies and gentlemen. Rob, what about you?
In terms of what?
Just, what do you think about culture, going forward, having fun? I mean,
Yeah.
we're an entity, a living, breathing entity that needs new people, new blood,
Yeah.
new volunteers, new ideas. There's the board, there's the on-field volunteers every Saturday, there's field maintenance, there's all kinds of things. How do you plug into the club other than just rugby activities?
Definitely trying to work on the recruiting end has been a big piece that we've been trying to work on this summer. We're trying to hatch a plan here to be more connected with the colleges in the state of Texas and hopefully bring more young Huns in and guys that are youthful and can add to the mix. We're a really young club, so it's a lot of exciting years ahead, but I think you just got to always keep bringing new Huns in. That's like one of the most important things.
We need forwards, dude. I mean,
Yeah.
the
Yeah, you're
backs
telling me.
the backs seem to recruit more backs. There's nothing in our club that 6 beefy, mean, experienced front row forwards wouldn't help with right away. You
Exactly.
know,
Exactly.
tongue chewing, pipe hammer, heavy duty guys, you know.
Yeah. No, I think like you can get some big guy. You can get obviously you can find big guys anywhere, but finding big guys who know how to play the game is the difficult part, or I guess willing to play the game at that D1 level, that D2 level, to where we can be. Because I mean, with the backs, I mean, you see it in the 7th season. We're dominant over most teams. I mean, we go back and forth with the Reds, but we're pretty dominant with our backs. We're just gotta. I mean, forwards we have now, amazing. I like some of them. I mean, meanest guys out there on the field.
But
But it is
depth is a big thing in modern rugby. You know, when I
100%.
played, there was no subs, 2 subs for injury. And you played the whole game. And guys weren't as big, and it was a different set of rules. There weren't all these 2-yard runs and massive collisions over and over and over again. So, you know, literally having 2 front rows for D1 and D2 and probably D3 is vital. So I think it's great you're focusing on recruiting. We've been talking with Willis about that a lot, but we really need forwards. That's our big deal. Anthony, how do you plug in with the club other than as a player?
Yeah. So I help a little bit with like the social aspect. When we had our club vote in the beginning of the 7th season. Obviously, with 15s, I was a new guy, didn't really not sure kind of where I fit in with the club, anything like that. But for the 7th season, it was me and Choice.
Were
We
you
got
that
kind of chosen as the social
the light
social
bulb's
coordinators
going
for
off?
that.
Were you playing wing in 15s, running wild out
Oh,
there on the
think
edge?
you're can't hear you here, Bill.
Did I
One
lose
second
you?
here.
Can you hear me? Rob, can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Or I could. Now we go. Here we go.
Okay.
Were you the wing running wild on the edge in 15s for a while this year?
I was.
Awesome. Now I'm putting 2 and 2 together. All right.
That's me. That's me. And basically on the field, that was kind of my role. Was they just gave me the ball and said go. So that's where I kind of fit in on the field. But off the field, just I don't really have a full on role as of being an officer or being anything like that. I just feel like I love to be a part of everything. I love to go to all the events. I love to just be a Hun basically. So basically, I feel like that's kind of where I fit in with this team.
Well, we got a lot of opportunities for people to be involved. But again, my 10 or so years playing with the Huns, and now 7 or 8 years being back involved with the board, I've met so many great people, so many great friends. We're trying to rally a bunch of guys to go to nationals.
Yeah.
The old farts just went to Argentina on a huge tour, and we're taking, it looks like 55 to 60 guys signed up to go to Maggot Fest next May.
Okay.
So, you know, I think in 2017, or not 2017, two years ago, so 2021, we won the table in 15s. We went 5th in nationals in 7. So we were TRU champs in a year where they really weren't emphasizing that because of COVID. We finished 5th at nationals, and I think we were once again old boys champs, the senior division champs in Texas, all at the same time. And, that's pretty remarkable. All right. So you guys both talked about recruiting. So let's talk recruiting.
Yeah, of course.
Let's pretend you're doing a recruiting video, Rob, right now. What would you tell guys? Why are we a better fit for somebody to play for than the other team in town and just other teams in general?
I mean, I would say, a big thing that stands out to me is a great 15s and a great sevens program. I mean, especially this summer, the coaching. I mean, Zinni, Ty, CJ, Edwin, everyone on the coaching end has been great. Coach Locke, everyone's been great. And there's opportunities to play great rugby year round on top of great community as well. But I would say that's a big pull to the Huns, is one of the deepest sevens programs in Texas for sure. And being able to do that and then go right in with the same guys to 15s. Most guys in the sevens program are 15s Huns too, and just able to build with those guys that you get to play with 9 months out of the year and have that culture and keep building that culture with some good teammates.
You made a good point there. A lot of times clubs can be cliquish. The Huns really aren't. If you're a solid player, you can play D1, D2 rugby right away. And that is a good thing. All right, Anthony, you're up now. You get to do your recruiting pitch. What is it?
Yeah, of course. Well, first off, just starting, besides the Huns, starting in Texas. I mean, playing in Texas is just the best word to describe it is different. The heat, obviously, and the competition here is unlike no other. I mean, we got two of top 5 national ranked teams in our league. We get to play every year. And as far as
we finished the year something like 15th out of 40.
Yeah.
So
yeah, exactly. So
we play in a tough league.
And I mean, any other league I think we would go through the league and dominate. So I mean, the competition's here, which is always great. You never want to just be the team that just wins the whole time. You always want to have that good competition because it keeps you better, keeps you on your toes. So that's number one for me. Number two is just, I think with the Huns, like you said earlier, you have an opportunity to play immediately. Some of these other teams I've noticed that they kind of keep the same squad through their seasons and not really bringing in any new guys. And for us, it's always good to change it up. And kind of on the opposite end of that with sevens, with us, what is it? We only got like 4 or 5 guys that came in from other places this year to play sevens with us. And everyone else is on our 15s team. You look at any of these other teams, like, I don't know if this is the place to talk on any team or any other team in Texas, but you look at the Reds and they got, you see maybe 2 guys from their 15s team on there. The rest are just kind of guys
and a bunch of professionals too.
Yeah, exactly.
I think one of the things that we're committed to, no mercenary culture. We have a very young team. We got 3 college guys playing with us on scholarship. But all that really means is we help them, travel here. We help them find a bed to sleep in and maybe just a teeny bit of beer money.
Yeah.
It's not big money at all. So we really emphasize, youth and enthusiasm, and you have a great chance to play. But go ahead.
No, and I think that's kind of what helps us in sevens, because you look at us compared to other teams. Obviously, we're not the biggest team. We might not be the strongest or the fastest, but we all know how to play rugby, and we all know how to play rugby together. So that's the thing that kind of brings us to winning these tournaments is some of these other, obviously they have some better athletes, but we know how to play rugby, and we can play really good together. So
you mentioned that Tola team in Houston; those were all MLR players. Everyone,
all of them. And what did we lose? I think we lost 27-19. Started coming back in the second half. I only got to play 6 minutes of that game before kind of hurt my knee, but I mean, it was you can see kind of where it was good to play that game to kind of see where we are compared to, I guess, the top level in the U.S. And I mean, we're right there with them. So it's a great thing to be a part of, and I'm excited to see how we do in this nationals.
Well, in sevens too, you never know what'll happen. But having watched all the matches, and they're going to all be streamed again. By the way, I found out today that USA Rugby and USA Club Rugby are both going to stream. I don't know the exact setup, if one's going to stream one field and another's going to stream another field, or if they're going to all stream everything. But these are going to be streamed in high def, and they're going to live on the internet on YouTube. I also learned today that apparently Heller has found a way to go to nationals, and he and Colton Neal are going to be a Huns broadcast team. So
Perfect.
we're going to have our own hometown broadcast team as well. Myself, Doormat, a bunch of old boys, a bunch of parents from some of these scholarship kids are all going to nationals. It seems like we're going to have a big crew there. And you know, guys, Madison, Wisconsin is a college town, and apparently this rugby facility they have, including a clubhouse, is one of the best in the country. So this is going to be a hell of a weekend, a hell of a party. But you know, running 6 matches in a row over 2 days against the best in the country. Nav Sevens is the defending national champ. Corey Jones left us, plays for them. They have 4 PR7s players playing for them. So the competition is going to be crazy, and it's going to be great. It's going to be a lot.
It's going to be some USA Eagles guys there, PR7s guys there, MLR guys there. So
they can definitely fight me. They can fight me.
No, exactly.
Have you played at that place, Rob, being from Wisconsin?
No, a bunch of my buddies have, and they've said it's like the nicest facility that they've played at. So I will not be going up. I can't, couldn't get some time off work and find the time, but I'll certainly be watching the games from the Rugby Ranch, hopefully cheering the boys on from back home. So
for us Texans, I live in California now, but for us Southerners, making the trip up there to Madison, Wisconsin, the Great White North, you got any travel tips for us? Any things that we should do while we're up there?
I mean, I'd say just go up there and drink a lot of beer and eat a lot of cheese. Ask Case Fleck for travel tips too. One of my weird story, but one of my best buddies on the Huns, also from the same state. So funny how it's a small world, especially with rugby. But
rugby is a very small world. Somebody posted a meme on Instagram or Facebook the other day about the 15 top drinking towns in the United States, and something like 11 of them were in Wisconsin. So I don't think finding a party at nationals is going to be a problem.
No.
All right, fellas, it's time to start winding this down. Each of you is going to get one shot to say whatever you want to the guys, to the rugby world, to the universe. This is your 1 minute of fame. Anthony Gillis, go.
Of course. Well, something that we always like to say together, is we're more than happy to face any team that we see in this tournament. We're confident in our skills, in our I guess teamwork to be able to beat any of these teams. So put anyone in front of us, and we're willing to go to work and see what we can do. That's me.
Sweet. That's a soundbite right there. Rob Brown, top that.
I'd say shout out to every guy that played sevens this summer. I mean, Tola champs and hopefully national champions for the guys on Huns White. It's been a great crew of the 30 guys in the mix, but everyone that came out to practice was great. And it's been a special summer. Texted Austin Willis yesterday, I think, that one of my favorite seasons yet, and can't wait for 15s. We're going to keep it rolling.
As an old fart and a board member, I might just absolutely have an epileptic seizure. We run the table and take nationals. Going back in the old days, the amateur era, There was no club national championship really. Especially in the early days when I was playing in 75. Even if you were on path to make the national team only played 2 matches a year against Canada. That's where rugby was. There was very little going on in college, nothing really going on in high school. The Huns didn't have a youth program, which we have now. I mean, as an old guy, to see rugby evolve in the United States the way it has, it's just amazing. And it's fun to be on the board and see you guys have all these opportunities to play. And I just want to say to the guys that are going, people go their whole lives as athletes without having a chance to compete for a national championship, their entire lives. And we're going twice in 5 years. And you guys have an opportunity before you that is very rare. Yes, have fun, all that stuff, but man, go out there and take it. Just kick some ass, because no one's going to give it to you. You know, you make it to Sunday in the final 8, and every one of those matches, people are going to be fighting to the death. So you guys, really proud of you, proud of the whole program. Hats off to Austin Willis. Go out and take it. And in closing, I want to give another thank you to Hamilton Barnes. We are trying to develop long-term sponsorship partnerships, and having Hamilton Barnes based in England and getting rugby is huge. And their ethos as a company also sort of fits our demographic. College-educated guys a lot, young professionals a lot. We're really grateful to have them as a sponsor. Anthony, tell them to watch this episode and see you on TV.
Oh, 100%.
Please tell them thank you for all of us. We are very, very grateful. We appreciate their help so much.
Will do. Yeah, thank you, Bill. Do appreciate it.
You,
and yeah,
look,
boys,
man, this is me goofing around. I appreciate you saying thank you, but the fact that the guys like these episodes, I'm really just trying to document Huns history and Huns culture. That's really all this is about, so that these videos can be used in recruiting. They can be used for old boys. They can just sort of live out there in the ethernet forever. So I'm glad y'all like it.
Yeah, love it. Love them.
Bill, I got to ask you one quick question. We had our 1 minute segment. What's some current Huns you want to see on the OldCast next?
You know, I don't really think about it like that. That's a good question. What we Heller and I do is kind of go week to week, you know, period to period. Like, obviously, the next logical thing would be sort of a post-nationals wrap-up, I would think. I want to emphasize as much as I can Austin Willis and what he's trying to accomplish, coaches whenever I can, and key players. Not that you guys aren't key players. What I thought was so neat about this idea is, why do the Huns appeal to new guys?
Yeah.
And how are new guys doing with the culture? And you guys all said all the right words. It's filtering down apparently the right way. And we're grateful to have you as Huns. You're going to be Huns forever. Once a Hun, always a Hun.
100%.
All right, fellas, we're going to sign it off. There's only one thing left to do, and that's say, Huns, go get them at Nationals, guys.
Do it. Thanks. Thanks again, Bill.